Okay, so I wanted to make a video about making a very simple iOS application. This is going to be just a contacts app, nothing too fancy, nothing too complicated. Just wanted to play around with setting up transitions, segues between different views, a table view, playing around with data sources, and setting up CoreData. So I'm going to make this harder on myself by starting up with a single view application. So we're going to do the single view application. I'm just going to call it contacts app. I'm going to do this in Swift because Objective-C is annoying. And we're going to use CoreData. Save it wherever you want, doesn't matter. Okay, view controller. We are not going to use you. So we're just going to delete you. And you can go to the trash. We are going to start with the table view. Zoom out a little bit. I think we're going to use a second table view to view the individual people. But let's do that later. We're going to start with the simple view for adding one. And we'll keep changing it as we grow in complexity. So let's add a label for the title, text field for the contact's name, and a text field for their phone number. I like really big titles, so we're going to go with 32 point black. Let's center it and call it add contact. I know, super fancy, right? Set some placeholder text for the name. Say John Doe, so we know it's going to be a name. This one be phone number. And then let's get some buttons. Who loves buttons? Everyone loves buttons. Make it nice and big. Not control click, option click. So that we can get two buttons. Because we want two buttons. This one's going to be the cancel button. This one's going to be the save button. Let's make that a little bit more clearer. Let's just use the regular system font, but bold and big. Maybe not 32, just 24. That's fine. Let's change the color, because why not? That's a little harsh. Eggplant? No, doesn't look good. Sure, why not? Okay, that's pretty. Now let's set up the boundaries. So make sure that that stays in the upper corner, or top of the screen. and then it fills it up. Because it's centered, it'll always be centered. Hey, you didn't go to 32 points. That's better. Let's drag all of you down. And you, let's have you be 16 points from the title and touching both edges. I like how it snaps up to where it's supposed to be. Okay. Let's have you be a little closer. Only 8 points off, but still touching the edges. And then let's space you farther. So 16, be along that edge. And so 16 points between you and the other button. Let's keep the height at 65. It's a good height. And the width's going to change. I always like the save button to be a lot larger. So that tells me how much bigger I need to make it. One more pixel. Too much. Back it off a little bit. Yeah. We'll just go here and manually change it. Boom. Now let's add that constraint so that it doesn't change. Width. There we go. Now you. 16, 16, and 0. And let's keep the height. There we go. That's all nice and fancy dancy looking. Let's come over here to our prototype, our table view with our prototype cell. Make sure you've selected the cell. We need to give it a reuse identifier. Let's be super original and call it contact cell. Let's just go with the basic one. Oh, no. That looks a little better. Now we can put the name and their phone number. We don't need an image. We're not going to take photos. Alright, that'll work. Now, I'd like to have the navigation border up there. So we're going to go to the editor and we're going to embed in navigation controller. Brings up a navigation controller to embed in that, and boom, look at that, we get a title. Double click and contacts. And let's add this bar button item. It's specific to the navigational bar up there. We're going to add it right here. We're going to change that, not the style, but the system item to add. And that's going to be our button to make a new contact. So you want to control drag, and let's present modally. So boom, look at that. Now we want to click on the segue we just created. We're going to give that an identifier so that we can talk about it in our source code. So let's call it add contact segue because original names are fun. Go away. Okay, so that's all fantastic. I want to go here to this navigation controller, and this is going to be our initial view. You want to be in this field. There we go. So when the application boots up, it's going to get us this navigation controller, which is going to load this table view on top of it. When we click on that button, that table view will put this view on top of that. So all three will technically be on the phone at that point. And we can only work with this one. We'll do our business, hit save or cancel, and then we'll drop back to this table view controller. So now we need controllers. Command N or file new. We're going to make new Cocoa Touch classes. I have no idea if that's how you pronounce it, but that's how I say it. So we do need a table view controller. Let's be a little bit more specific. Contacts view controller. And now we have a contact view controller. Let's get rid of all of this commented code. It's not really going to help us that much anyway. Okay, one more. This one's going to be for the add one. This one does not need to be a UI table view controller. This one just needs to be a normal UI view controller, which we are going to call the add contact view controller. Put it in the same place. And then we get a contact view controller. You notice there's some very different things about it. Why are you a table view controller? Okay, well, we could just delete it and make another one, but don't need to. UI view controller. We don't need to work with tables in this one, so let's get rid of that. There we go. And now let's go back to our storyboard and let's connect these scenes to those classes. So click on that and it'll get us the view controller for this scene. It's a table view controller, so that's going to oh my gosh. That was supposed to be a UI table view controller. Alright, so we need a number of sections. And right now we're going to return 1, and then we need the number of rows in section. Right now we're just going to return 0 so that we can continue working. This class inherits this function, so we need to override the default implementation of it. So put that back. There we go. Now our class will be okay again. Let's go back here. Context view controller. Let's go to Hue. You're the add view controller. Beautiful, beautiful. Okay. So let's go back to the context view controller. So we need our data. We are going to have a dictionary, rather an array of dictionaries for our contacts. So let's call this contacts. It's going to be of an array string to string. And we're going to instantiate an empty set. So when we first load up, we will have an empty set of contacts. Each contact in here, if you want to see what it's going to be like, just make a note for ourselves. It's going to be an array. Each array will have a key, name, John Doe, phone number, 555, 555, 5555. And we'll have as many of those as we can have. So because we're going to be using name and phone number a lot, let's not write them out every time. So we can simplify this a little bit. We'll make an enumeration. No, we'll make a struct. Contact. It's going to have two things: a name, a type string, and a phone number. Also type string. And since we're doing that, this is just going to be an array of contact. And whenever I'm defining a new struct, which is going to be the whole data model for this thing, I just like to put it in its own file. So we're going to make a contacts with file. And we're going to move this struct into this file. There we go. And you'll see everything here still works because the application still knows what a contact is. Okay, and now the number of rows in our section is going to be the number of contacts we have. So we're going to go contacts.count. And now we need the actual cells that we are going to use. So that is cell for row at. Let cell equal table view dot DQ reusable cell with identifier. Remember, we called it contact cell for index path. So we get this variable, well, this constant index path, which we are going to use here. This we picked up from here. Click on the contact cell, and that identifier right there is what we're using right there. Now we have our cell. Just to clear out that error because I don't like it, I'm going to return the cell. And now our function's doing what it's supposed to do, which is return a UI table view cell. But just having an empty cell with no data in it is not that much fun. So cell, we know we have a text label. It's got some text. And that text is going to be equal to this contact. And our contact is the specific contact we are generating a cell for. So we're going to grab the contacts array and we're going to choose the specific one for this row. So while it's making all these cells, it knows the exact row where it's looking to make. It gives the row and section information to this index path variable. We're going to grab the row value out of it and return it to the contacts array so that it knows which contact to make. We're going to give that to this, and here is going to be the name. So this is contact.name, and then cell detail text label text is equal to contact.name. And you might want to know how I know that it has these things. If you command click, you'll see that the basic UI table view cell has some optional variables in it. So we have an optional image view, text label, detail text label. You can choose to set those only when you're using the base UI table view class. So now when we have a contact name or phone number, there we go. So now assuming we had a contact, and just for kicks and giggles, let's make one. Let Fred equal contact. Let's just make him real quick. Fred. Fred has a phone number, of course, which is 444 444. And now we need to add Fred to our contacts array. So now we have Fred in our contacts. And now we're going to reload the data so that it will pull this function while it's recreating the data table. So now when we run this, we should get Fred with a phone number of 444 444 4444. And looky there, we got Fred. Though if we click on Fred, nothing's going to happen. If we click on this, nothing. And look, we're stuck because we haven't built any of this yet. So that was fun. Okay. So now we have a table view. It displays information. We love it. But we would like to add a contact. Maybe cancel or not save it. So let's start doing that. And in order to do that, we're going to need some outlets. Okay, so we need to grab control click We need to grab the name. So let's call this name text field. And we need to grab the phone number. Beautiful. Let's kick back over to our context view controller. So if you remember earlier, I said that the context view controller was the one that called the add contact view controller and popped that scene on top of the contacts view controller. That means that this specific controller is still running and controlling its child view, the add contact view controller. So in here, we're going to create an unwind segue. And that is simply called unwind to contact list. Why not? And then it needs a segue, which is going to be of type UI storyboard segue. Alright, now this function needs to have an outlet, so we're going to add IB action so that we can connect this function to those storyboards. So let's go back over here. And now looking at the add contact one, we're going to control click from the view controller to the exit. So here's this unwind to contact list with segue. I think you can also do it up here. So now we have a segue. We need to name it so that we can use it. Let's call it unwind to contact list. Now, let's go ahead and create some actions. I want to see more over here. Okay, so we need this save button and this cancel button to perform that segue. So let's put it in navigation, action, and let's call this save and close. We're not gonna have it go out to any more storyboards. So there we go. And now cancel button. I will just call it close. But it's an action. In fact, let's have them both just do any. We don't need to know the sender. It's not going to do anything fun. So we're going to perform segue with the identifier of unwind to contact list. Who is sending it? We are sending it. And then we're going to do the same thing with this one. Okay, now if we want to test this, just making sure that we're going back and forth now. Oh, there's our contact form. We could type cancel. Beautiful. Okay, now let's actually do something with it though. It's no fun being able to type and not have anything happen. So let's go back over to the context view controller and let's get rid of Fred. He served his purpose. Thank you very much, Fred, but you can go away now. So when they perform that action, let's do something. So they send a segue, and that's the sender from the other one. So we're not going somewhere, coming from somewhere. So segue source, and we need to save this to a variable. So let view controller equals segue source. As add contact view controller, and we're going to add a guard statement to that. So that we unwrap that optional. So this is creating an optional. It's basically saying, so let view controller equal the view controller the segue is coming from. Cast it to the add contact view controller class, which is this, instead of being just a normal UI view controller. That's what it would normally just be. It would be the base class UI view controller. But we want it to be the add contact view controller. Why do we want it to be the add contact view controller? Good question. Because it has text fields. So let name equal name text field dot text. Let phone number equal view controller dot phone number text field dot text. So we can get the text from both of those. But let's be sure that we actually get that text by putting this inside a guard statement. So if we don't get a name and a phone number, for example, if the person doesn't enter anything and still hits save, we don't want to make an empty contact. So we need those to have values. So if there are values there, and we came from the add contact view controller, then let's make a contact. With the name and phone number. And then we'll add our contact to our array. And we will reload the data. So table view, reload data. Test it out. Fred's gone, thankfully, but I kind of miss Fred. Let's bring Fred back. Hey, Fred's back now. Maybe that's not Fred's number. let's make it so that we can go view Fred. So let's hop over to our storyboard and let's scoot you up. Let's stop that from running. So that's going to be one view, but then we want another view. Let's do we do a table view or shall we do a normal view? Let's just do a normal view. Okay. So now we're going to control drag from the cell to that one, and we are going to show detail. So now we need an identifier on this one, and what shall we call it? Contact detail. Why not? What do we call this one? Add contact segue. Contact detail segue. Keep things standard. We need a new view controller. This one is going to be contact detail view controller. Okay. And again, we don't need any of that. Let's attach our new view controller to our new scene. Okay, now here we're going to show just two things. We're going to show the name and the phone number. So two labels. And of course, it needs to be big. There we go. So John Doe. So I'll go right there. Maybe this one will be small. And we'll let people know what the other thing is. They might be so confused. What is this string of digits? Why are you telling me about this? Not control drag, option drag. Let's align it the other way and put in the phone number. Maybe 19 points. Command equal to stretch it out. Let's make this gray, just so it doesn't stand out so much. Sure, that'll work. All right, set our constraints so that the application knows how to display. Let's have that just be 8. We're going to stretch you all the way over to here, just in case I want to make it bigger in the future. 0. And beautiful. So it wants the hugging priority changed. There we go. Okay, so now we've got this nifty segue to get bigger picture on the details already being displayed. Let's go back to our context view controller, and now we need even more navigation functions. So set that up, and this is going to be prepare for segue. So we're going to prepare for the segue so long as if the segue's identifier is equal to contact detail segue. That way, if we use this segue, this function doesn't fire. We will. So if they do the add contact segue, it will hit this, go, hey, what's the identifier? Add contact, that doesn't match, and jump down to here and just move on. Move on with its bad self. So, what do we need to tell the new view controller? Oh, well, we're going to be talking to the new view controller, so let's get a way to do that first. View controller. Again, we have to access the segue we're given, and it is the segue's destination this time. And this time we are talking to the contact detail view controller. Again, we really do need to talk to just that one, so let's unwrap that. We can return if that fails. So if somehow this segue identifier isn't talking to the contact detail view controller, it'll just kick us out. I don't know how that would happen, but say it happens. Okay, so we have this view controller, and that view controller is going to need to control or have our object on it. I did not do that. So you are going to have a contact of type contact. It's going to be optional. We're going to set you to nil to begin with. That's going to be fine because every time we send to you, we are going to give you a contact. So first, let's pick a contact out of our own pile of contacts. Using selected cell. So let index path equal table view dot what is it? Here we go. Index path for selected row. So now we have the index path. Let's use it. Row. There we go. So now we have a contact. Let's assign that contact to this view controller's contact. It's not populating, but it's there, darn it. It's there. Oh, that is an optional. I need to unwrap it. And it is very important that it gets unwrapped, because if we do not know what cell was or what row was selected, we cannot know what contact to pass on. Why do you think there isn't a contact? Oh, it wants this to be a bar so that we can change it. There we go. That's beautiful. Now we have that set up. Now we need to go over here and we need to actually tell those labels what to say. So let's go to our storyboard. We need some outlets in order to do that. Clear up some green real estate. Okay, so our first outlet, the name label. And our second outlet is our phone label. Phone label. Oh, that's gorgeous. Well, it's working. Context view controller. Now that that view controller has what we need, so we can't adjust the labels directly because they're a weak property and not in existence before the view gets loaded. So we actually need to just set it up here in the view did load. So when the view loads, we're going to take our name label dot text. We're going to set that equal to our contact dot name, and we're going to take our phone label text and set that equal to contact dot phone number. There we go. That should work. Okay, now you'll notice Fred's gone, so we're going to have to add Fred back. And we're going to take care of that next. So there's Fred. Click on him. There he is. Oh, we can't get back. So I lied. We're going to take care of that issue next. So here we go. We're going to select the storyboard. We're going to go up to editor. We're going to embed in a navigation controller. And that will automatically give us that back button. So let's add Fred again. I'm sure you have his phone number memorized by now. There's Fred. Boom. Where's my back button? Okay, I'm tired of fucking around with this. So we're just gonna put a button in. I stopped the recording and was trying to figure out why it wasn't working. I couldn't. So if anyone out there knows what I did wrong, feel free to let me know. And I will correct. I think I can use this exact same segue because we should hit this and it should hit return. So let's go back to our storyboard. Now we have this unwind, and we'll connect that button up to it, make the action. Action is, call it done, because I am done. Okay, then we're going to perform segue, unwind to contacts, send a self. There we go. Okay. Now while I was trying to figure out why this thing wasn't working that well, I noticed an issue with this. So if you put in a bunch of stuff and then hit cancel, it will still populate a contact over here. So we're going to need to add a little bit of code to our add contacts controller. So when we just close, before we perform that segue, we are going to set the name text field .text to nil, and we are going to set the phone number text field .text to nil. That way, even if there's text in there, there isn't any more. And then we unwind back to the contact list. Okay. And contacts view controller, this should work now. Should now be able to get back. So here's Fred. Fred's phone number. Beautiful. Oh, we have an error. What is the error? It's not the right one. Yes, let's type dictionary. Has no segue unwind to contacts. Okay, so here is my reason. The contact detail view controller has no segue unwind to contacts. So let's go back to this segue. It's because it's called unwind to contact list. Unwind to contact list. There we go. Oh. No, it's not. It's because over here, you never gave this the title unwind to contact list. Okay, add Fred in again. And look at that. Let's add a button on this page. Because remember, buttons are great. Let's just have this be delete contact. So we need to be able to get rid of contact somehow. And we'll stick this all the way at the bottom. And we'll just set these values so that it's stuck in the bottom corner. There we go. And to know whether or not we've deleted the contact, let's set up a Boolean variable. Is deleted. I'll type bool. False. So it's not deleted unless we say it is. And then we'll perform the same segue. So let's make this segue now handle we need to reconnect this now. There we go. Okay. Silly thing's just not selecting. Okay. So let's get back to that function and make it work. So context view controller. Here's the unwind to contact list segue. And we will change this to if let. So if it's that view controller, we'll do that. Else, if it's the contact detail controller, then let's see if view controller dot is deleted. If that's true, then we need to take the view controller's contact. I don't want to make these equatable. So why don't we also send it the index path? Should be of type index path optional set to no. There we go. And then when we send this over, we'll send the index path of the contact along with it, so that if they delete it, I don't have to check. I can just call it. So contact details segue, viewController.contact equal contact, and viewController.index path is equal to index path. Okay, and if it's deleted, let and then we are going to contacts dot remove at index path dot row. We can explicitly state that that index path is going to be of type index path. So after we remove it, we need to refresh the table view. There we go. Now we should be able to add and remove Fred. Delete. Fred's gone. Okay. Now we also need to be able to edit Fred. So let's do another button item. Edit. And this edit one, since we already have this wonderful view over here, why don't we just make use of it? And we are going to present it modally. To make this a little bit more clearer, and drag you over here. Okay. We're going to call this segue edit contact. Okay, now we go to the contact detail view controller, and now we need a navigation section. And we are going to prepare for segue. If segue.identifier is equal to edit contact. Okay, so we need our view controller. That's going to be Segway's destination as add contact view controller. It's optional. Else return. Beautiful. Okay, now we don't want it to say add contact here. So in order to get access to that label, let's make an outlet. Title label. Now I also need a variable in order to affect this on the change. So let's call this add contact. And in the view did load, we are going to take our title label dot text, and we're going to set it equal to title text. There we go. And now we jump back over to here. And take view controller dot title text. We're going to change that to edit contact. And then we need to populate the data. So we need a contact on here. That is going to be an optional contact set to nil, because we're only going to need it if we're editing. So the view controller's contact is going to be equal to our contact from this view, and then boom. There we go. And now we're going to go back over to the add contact view controller. And if we can unwrap the contact, then we're going to set the fields. Name text field dot text is going to equal the contact's name, and phone number text field dot text is going to equal the contact's phone number. Okay, there we go. And now because this is visible, we still have these functions that still unwind to the contact list. So when we go back, it's still going to take us all the way back to the contact's view controller using this segue. So to make sure that we don't accidentally duplicate these people, we're also going to take in an index path. For contact. Type index path, optional, set to null. Because again, that's only going to happen if we're editing. So contact detail view controller, we're going to need to pass it the index path we get. Index path for contact is equal to index path. And that needs to not be an optional, so put the exclamation mark. It'll error if it happens, but honestly, if we get to this screen and we haven't been given an index path, something really wrong has happened. So we'll pass along the index path to the add and now /edit contact view. And then back here in the context view controller, here's where we're adding, and we just need to check if there is the index path unwrapped. So we're going to do that right here. If view controller dot index path for contact, if let index path equal view controller index path for contact. So if we can unwrap it, then we're going to have to do context index path dot row equals contact, else and no matter what, we're going to have to do the table view. So let's just take you out. So we're either going to add it or we're going to correct it. Let's make sure that that works. Okay, so Fred, you have a phone number. Oh, but I think your phone number is wrong. So let's change you to 333. And look, we've updated. Good. We now have a fully functional CRUD in our contacts app. Now comes the fun. Now we are going to persist our data. So we're going to start using that CoreData that I had started about talking in the first place. So here is our data model, and we currently have no entities with no attributes for those entities. So we need an entity. That entity is going to be contact, and that entity is going to have two attributes: a name of type string and a phone number of type string. All right, so the compiler is really not going to like the fact that they're the same. So we're just going to have to get rid of this struct we had created. I know it's everywhere, but it really is for the best. So we're going to start here. And this is no longer going to be an array of type contact. It is going to be an array of NS managed object. I don't have CoreData imported. There we go. NS managed object. And that is going to be a single person or a contact from our data model. So it's going to be an array of this entity. Okay. Those are all. Just making sure my data source and my navigation functions are correctly sorted. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to get all of our contacts. So the first thing we need to do is we need to get the app delegate. And we're going to get that because the app delegate has the CoreData managed context already in it. So here is our CoreData stack. It has our persistent container in it. And that's what we're going to use to store everything in it. And this is going to help us save. So that's why we're grabbing our app delegate, because we want that bad boy. Okay. All right, now we're going to get our fetch request. Which is going to take the homogeneous values of NS fetch request response entity named contact. Oh, it's not response, it is result. Okay. So contacts equals try. So contacts equals try managed object context dot fetch, and we are going to fetch the fetch request we've provided as an array of NS managed objects. But it's not going to be an optional. And if we get an error, we're just going to print it. Okay. When the view loads, we will fetch. And then we will reload the data after it is fetched. Okay. Okay. Yes. We need to cast those to strings because it's going to pull in, whatever variable type we've put in there, which can be transformable, which means it could be any real type. So we need to cast it and strongly. No optionals here. Okay. Yeah. Okay, so these three errors are going to be a little bit more complex. So we're going to have to go, where's this coming from? This is coming from the add contact view controller. Let's jump over here, add contact view controller, and that is going to be ns managed object. Value for key name as string and value for key phone number as string. Okay. That should take care of that. That is now still a contact. Wait, it's only going there if editing. So this is going to need a save function. So just make a note, save. So let's write that save function. It's not going to return anything. We have to do these same two things again. Okay. Okay. I want my autocomplete back, so I'm going to clear out some of these things. Yeah, you're just irritated because I'm not using them because they're commented out lines. Okay. Good. I should have my autocomplete back now. For entity name contact in managed object contact. Okay. Now I have an entity. What are you doing, Xcode? What are you doing? Okay, now I have an entity that I can set value for key name. Let contact equal ns managed object entity insert into managed object context. Two values I'm going to save. Okay, and then we'll contacts, we'll add the contact which is created to our contacts array, and if there's an error, we will print it out. Okay, save, error. Pinned contact. Okay, now down here. Name, name, phone number, phone number. Now that'll save it and add it. And I want to do that right there. Otherwise, I need to update it. So this is going to be an update command. Action update. And so let's write an update command or function. So it's going to take index path. We'll type index path so that it knows what to update. As always, we need our app delegate and our managed object context. Here we go. Let's grab the contact out of our data pool, and then we'll grab okay. That should set the values.